This was mass murder.
Thank you.
And the biggest crime in American history has never, I repeat, never had a criminal
The American way is to just sit back and listen to the media and to the government and lay down our arms and just fall asleep. The American way is to stand up. When we feel that our government is being tyrannical, it's our job to stand up and make a change.
They have not answered. They refuse to answer. Why? Why? Because they're scared that we know the truth. We know the truth. We know what happened to those buildings.
Ghosts are in the walls that we can't even see. Infinite surround, life is all around.
Firefighter Louis Cazzioli went down to testify in 2004 in front of Congress. You know what he said? He said, I felt like I was on trial. I tried to tell him what was going on. I was there. I tried to tell him about the multiple explosions. I tried to tell him the truth, and they made a criminal out of me, and so I left. Now listen, the biggest crime needs a criminal investigation. What does that mean? That means we subpoena people. That means we give whistleblower immunity. That means we actually delve into the facts. We don't have an underfunded, unbudgeted 9/11 commission that is full of holes that I can drive that bus through.
Fraud.
It's a complete fraud. Everybody knows it. In fact, even the proponents of the 9/11 Commission report said they didn't get half the evidence. There were people who basically filtered the evidence to them. And so we need a new investigation. The family members want it.
I'm here with wearechange.org. You should visit the website. One main thing to look into is the findings by scientists and physicists that there was thermite in the building. Okay, firefighters stated that there was puddles of molten lava beneath the buildings and also beneath Building 7, which is right up there. They rebuilt it already. Those buildings, it would be impossible for them to collapse. They over-engineered those buildings, okay? They built it like a screen. I don't know if you've seen loose change videos, but that guy, what he said about the screen and the pencil puncturing the screen is exactly right. They built it to be able to take 4 or 5 hits from each plane. And it probably still wouldn't collapse because it's overly structured. And just look into the thermite and the thermate, and that right there proves it.
Compare this to the wallops sustained by World Trade Center 3, 4, 5, and 6, positioned right below the towers.
9/11! Cover up! 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 9/11!
In almost 110 years of steel buildings, only 3 buildings have ever collapsed due to fire, and all 3 of them happened on 9/11, and none have fell from fire since.
February 2005, the Windsor Tower in Madrid, a skyscraper undergoing reconstruction, sustained a 20-hour
To melt steel, you need 2,800 degree temperatures. Now, how do you do that? With jet fuel fires, and especially in 7, it's not hit by a plane. You know, and NIST just ignores it. They said the molten metal doesn't exist. But we have the thermographic images where you can see the hot spots, all right? I've got the firefighters on video talking about channels of molten steel coming down looking like lava. And I'm like, I can't believe it.
For the floor to fall down, thousands of joints would have to break simultaneously. And then if you look at the speed at which this came down, less than 10 seconds, you blink your eye and thousands of joints just pop somehow. The only way you can explain that is with explosives. They had to have had explosives placed all over the floors at the primary joints. And then that would explain how all of the joints broke at such a rapid rate.
You need some kind of accelerant for a building, so for anything to fall at free fall speeds. It just doesn't happen. There's going to be stuff stopping it every step of the way. The official story says the building's pancake. What the hell is a pancake? Where is it? Yeah, the pancake would have slowed it down. It wouldn't have came at free fall speeds, and you would have seen a stack of concrete waiting at the bottom. They found bone fragments this small, you know what I mean? And dust. I mean, they found lots of dust and bone fragments from the supposed fire. Yeah. I mean, almost out, but yeah.
Molten metal in the basements of all 3 buildings.
Right.
And yet all scientists now reasonably agree that the fires were not sufficiently hot to melt the steel. So what is this molten metal? It's a direct evidence for the use of high temperature explosives such as thermite. Thermite produces molten iron as an end
That's why
product.
this September 11, 3 days from now, you're going to see thousands of people on the streets, and you're going to recognize that we will no longer remain silent. Because this movement has begun.
Headed down those tracks, and you're never coming back again. You got a lot of stuff to pack. Yeah, that load might break your back someday, 'cause you've got a lot of secrets, and that's a fact.
Once I found out that there wasn't a massive communications or electronic or electrical failure, that something had massively broken apart in the relationship between our military and the Federal Aviation Administration, I knew that one way or another, somehow, that this was an inside job.
Three different stories, what the military did. The first story was that we didn't send up any planes until after the Pentagon was struck. And that would have meant about 90 minutes after the first sign that a plane was...
I couldn't be a lone voice the afternoon of 9/11 saying it's an inside job, okay, because people weren't ready and would not believe that. The entire 9/11 Truth movement had to grow. We had to get some much more respectful and representative and well-credentialed people to challenge it. This has happened since 2004, 2005.
That doesn't sound very good. That sounds like a stand down. 90 minutes? You generally intercept in 10 minutes. What happened? So they came up with a second story. And according to the second story, yeah, we sent planes up, but we couldn't get there on time because the FAA had been so late notifying us that we tried, but in each case...
It was a procedure. They just changed the procedure, and basically what it meant was that the air traffic controllers in an emergency situation had to get Pentagon approval before they scrambled an aircraft, okay, after June. Before June, the air traffic controllers went right to the military, okay, responsible for the scramble base, and would say, "Get me some birds in the air." So Don Rumsfeld took the procedures and he put the Pentagon in between the emergency and the scramble, and it worked perfectly. But we got him.
So come on back. Alright. You better believe what you see now. You better believe what you see, yeah. You better believe what you see now. You better believe what you see, yeah. Yeah, what you see, yeah, baby. You gotta expect me to wonder who. You gotta expect me to wonder who. You gotta expect me to wonder who is loving you.
Well, I came to realize that these were controlled demolitions because steam in our steam lines is 800 degrees, and it's moisture-free steam. It has to be, and I've never had a steam line melt on me yet, and nor do I plan to in the future to see one melt. And that's when I realized this whole story here was bogus. And that, and Marvin Bush being one of the directors of Securicom, the company that did security here.
And Securicom was also in control of security at Dulles Airport and Newark International Airport, where 2 of the 4 flights flew out.
From 1996 to 2000, Securicom installed what was referred to as a new security system at the World Trade Center. Wirt D. Walker III, a cousin of the Bush brothers, was CEO of Securicom from 1999 until 2002. Interestingly, these facts have not been made public. Was it only a security system that was added during those years, or was it also the wiring for a long-awaited plan?
Larry Silverstein had a very big motivation, the largest insurance policy ever.
A commercial real estate tycoon with international political connections acquired a 99-year lease on the World Trade Center complex in the spring of 2001. Throughout the summer, he reworked the insurance policies on his new property, making sure that it was covered for acts of terrorism.
9/11! Cover up! 9/11! Cover up! 9/11! Cover up! 9/11! Cover up! 9/11!
Getting a call from the fire department commander telling me that they were not sure they were going to be able to contain the fire. And I said, you know, we've had such terrible loss of life. Maybe the smartest thing to do is pull it. And they made that decision to pull, and then we watched the building collapse.
The Bush family, the Carlisle group, we got Cheney and Halliburton.
My name is David Lashar, and I am a war profiteer.
Halliburton, it's not what we know, it's who we know.
Yes, you do have the war in Iraq, but the war in the Middle East in general, and all this agenda fits in with so-called the New World Order.
But most of it is in my mind this time, and I miss you like I miss you, and that's a fact. Come on back.
It's absolutely provable that a lot of the Bin Laden footage is fake. Not only experts, video experts from around the world are saying that, but you can prove it yourself by looking at an old documentary that has this, clip of Bin Laden in there, and then something that was released a couple years ago, maybe in 2005, that recycles that. It's amazing, but people don't have the time or the inclination to really look into it, and they just see it on the news. Oh, new Bin Laden, he's still out there, still a threat. And he's not the threat.
I go back to the 70s during the Kennedy assassination, and we had a lot more investigation with our media than back then. We get nothing now. Nothing.
FBI admits no hard evidence linking Bin Laden to the 9/11 attacks. I mean, and you can go to FBI.gov and look there. He's not. Please, everybody, go there. He's listed for the 93. He's wanted for the 93 bombings, and the USS Cole, but not for 9/11. There's no mention on that. Why? You'd think even if they wanted to cover up, I don't know. Why they should just put that on there. Here I am consulting for the government. If you want to just keep your lies straight, be consistent, have him on there. Just put 9/11. I mean, it's insane. It's insane.
First it was they're terrorists, they're harboring Bin Laden. Then it was they've got weapons of mass destruction. Then it was Operation Iraqi Freedom. So, and then they go in there and kill all the Iraqis.
BBC reported that, years ago, that 6 or 7 of the alleged hijackers turn up alive.
It's not the same media that I'm used to, the Jim Jensen, the David Berkeley, Chet Huntley from back in the 70s.
Reading military deception manuals on how to use media. There's an actual term, neocortical warfare. There's mimetic warfare using memes. I mean, they know all this stuff.
They give you a little piece of the news in one publication over here, then there's another piece over here, or a piece over here. You know, nobody's really connects the dots. When somebody finally collects all the dots and puts them in one spot, you know, then you have a picture.
They know about trauma-based mind control, and that's basically we had that done to us. We were traumatized. We believed the official story.
If you're going to go in there and kill thousands and thousands of other people, what makes it so different to kill somebody who lives in the United States?
Do you remember when we were in Brooklyn and we ruled friends? We made a human totem pole to get it down. When it was found, it was passed to me at once. I skipped it off the ground and sent that love straight down. There is no word for it when you are ready for everything. This is what you said while blinking your eyes.
But you gotta get facts. And the only way is to be in there and get proof automatically. How are you gonna do that? The thing is demolished already.
Well, exactly, and that's part of the problem. I mean, Rudy Giuliani had all the steel whisked out of here within a couple weeks, so that we couldn't do tests on.
How are you gonna prove it?
Yeah, well, if we had access to the steel, we could have tested the steel for explosives. But nobody didn't allow access to any of that steel.
Why?
It was all whisked. I don't know why. It was all whisked off, melted down for sent to China, and melted down for scrap metal.
You can't get the access. The one who owns the building could get access.
Rudy Giuliani had it all whisked away.
Oh, Giuliani.
Giuliani.
I'm sure they investigated. I'm pretty sure they did.
They investigated what?
All this. Well, I'm sure all of this was investigated.
No, it wasn't.
Iron oxide and iron sulfide had formed on the surface of the structural steel. Sulfur used with thermite is called thermate, producing even faster results.
We, as the Americans, have been brainwashed, quote unquote, to believe since we were born that it's okay to just say, oh, the elite are going to be the elite and there's nothing we can do about it. That's not true.
To some extent, I think we need to stop relying on the government to solve this problem. I don't think there's a politician out there that will be able to legislate away this cabal that has hijacked the world, you know. So I think instead it's up to us. A critical mass to reinvestigate? Probably not. A critical mass to achieve something, to create some level of autonomy? Perhaps.
Try to get everybody together to do that.
These politicians and the new Zogby poll. Have you seen the new Zogby poll that just came out? 51% of Americans want Bush and Cheney to be probed about 9/11.
Do you know how many secrets they got between people?
Great, that's fine. And you know what? Revolution needs to start somewhere.
For thousands of years, the strong have tried to enslave the weak, and the people of the people, you know, people for the people, try to rise out in protest and say, no, we're not going to be enslaved. It's our right to be free. We're designed to be free.
Everything looks good when you're running free. Everything looks good in NYC. Everything sounds good when you're running free. Everything looks good to me.
At the very beginning, you have to suspect, you know, we just have a history of this. This is standard practice.
Operation Ajax, Iran, Mossadegh, democratically elected leader of Iran, and I believe it was the CIA that would just bomb mosques and shoot civilians, and then have leaflets, distribute leaflets saying that Mossadegh did it.
The handbills read, "Up with Mossadegh, up with communism, down with all."
There's no word for it when you are ready for everything. This is what you said while blinking your eyes so rapidly.
hear what they thought of it, but basically we're just asking the questions. We're not trying to answer them as much. And when we are trying to present the alternate argument, it's not us saying it anymore. We were actually able to go get the interviews. We were able to dig up a lot of footage. We were able to go through the commission hearings. And it's just a totally new movie. We go into the hijackers in the beginning so we can show the anomalies there, how they were trained at military bases, the Able Danger program that identified Atta and others that was ignored 70 plus times by the uppers, and then they made them destroy the data. You know, and then when they tried to go public about it in the hearings, they were literally gagged the day before. So that was important to show for me. I think we revised our Pentagon chapter to show both sides of the argument. We revised our Shanksville chapter, and really the demolition chapter of World Trade Center 1, 2, and 7 are just so much different. And I believe, you know, we were able to get that interview in 7 with someone who was actually blown up in 7, you know, prior to both buildings collapsing. And that's incredible because a lot of people have dismissed that. And they were both on TV that day. And I tried to contact the other guy, and he wouldn't come back to me. But we got one of them. So, you know, it's a big time different movie. We're trying to reach an older, more mature audience. We feel like we woke up a lot of the youth with this one. Let's get the soccer moms and the dads so we can really get a new investigation.
The way Loose Change works is it's an overview of everything. It touches on everything. You know, all of the holes, I guess, in the 9/11 Commission and the NIST report. But it doesn't get too into detail about any of it. And then anything that may have been really hard for me to fathom at the time are explained in other movies.
You know, we've probably sold over 100,000 hard copies, way over. I mean, even last year, because we sell them in spindles too. You know, so people are more accessible. We gave away 10,000 here last year. You know, you've seen our hits on Google Video. You know, 7 million plus since last August on one alone, and before that 10 and 15 million on some different ones. So we've distributed this around the world, and plus last year it aired on the History Channel in Australia and New Zealand.
I've handed out myself over probably 5,000 DVDs in the last 2 years. So I just keep trying to push. I push a lot of literature out. I push a lot of DVDs out. I have a lot of street action. I come from Wisconsin. We've already burned the 9/11 Commission report and got on TV for that. And because we just don't believe in that report. It's a lot of
never suspected anything about 9/11. I thought these conspiracy guys were a bunch of kooks. I didn't believe a GD thing. Then I saw Loose Change. I checked it. I did the research. I was shocked. And I've never been the same since. From then, I found Alex Jones. Loose Change woke me up. Alex Jones
actually turned me on to it. My first year out of high school, he somehow he got some of the videos from Alex Jones because Alex Jones is from Austin, where we're from, and that's when he first found out that 9/11 that it was you know, controlled demolition. It was an inside job.
All the same cabal with the Democrats, Republicans, where they've been up to this. Ever since they went Kennedy, they've escalated it.
Rush Hour 3, you had Pirates of the Caribbean 3, you had all these part 3s. Like literally, there's like 10 part 3 movies. Yeah. That's just to get us ready for Shock and Awe Part 3. Yeah. We saw Shock and Awe Part 1 right here. Yeah. Shock and Awe Part 2 in Iraq. Shock and Awe Part 3 in Tehran.
They attacked us because of our freedoms. Who's destroying our freedoms? Military Commissions Act, Patriot Act, PD 51, giving continuity of government to the UN in case of a bio attack. Every day I wake up and our freedoms are gone, our country's disappearing.
Wipe his ass with the Bill of Rights. That's what our president has done.
There's some police out here don't like what I do because I tell people the truth. But there's a lot of policemen and a lot of firemen who appreciate what I do. Ring the bell, Harry. Ring the bell.
I think you're crazy. And to some extent that could be said to be true, right? Because if you have this mythos, this story of what America is that we've been told, this doesn't fit into that story, you know? The government intentionally, I mean not even the government, this elite within the government intentionally set up an operation that murdered thousands of people. That's not Jefferson, that's not Lincoln.
3,000 people that day, you know what I mean? And it wasn't Al-Qaeda, and
speculative is not what I'm here for. I'm not a physicist. I'm not, you know, a pilot. I'm not any of these things, and I'm not psychic.
What I do know for sure is that what the government's selling us is a lie.
The American people never go to war unless they're tricked. They've never gone to war unless they're tricked. They are not, but that's what the world thinks of us.
The place here is not, it's sacred ground. But no, it's more about building and when can we have it built? When can we start getting income? It's not about identifying. I would love for my brother to be found. I'm proud of him. He's a hero. He left 5 children behind, small children that love and miss their father. I miss my brother. I'm proud of him, but what are we going to do?
When the history books are written, and they're going to be very different than what we've been told about 9/11, you know, right after the event.
I'm doing what I can with the knowledge that I have.
That's all we can do, right?
That's all we can do.
You could say that about any great achievement in human history was done against the odds, and that's what we got to do. I mean, the odds are against us, and if we succeed, it'll be a great moment in history.
9/11, 9/11, 9/11, 9/11. This is not the end, this is surely the beginning. The change is coming, citizens. Take the time while you have it and research 9/11. This is your wake-up call.
Bye-bye. Keep the faith.